Welcome back to Season 6 of Time to Change.
We have some amazing conversations lined up from people doing the work. I'm excited for those and the change that it'll hopefully spark.
I can't wait to jump in. So let's get started. Welcome back to Time to Change. I'm Chasen Forehand. In the house today, Felipe Cofiño. Normally, you would see my handsome co-host, Dom. He is not here today, but he will be joining us again soon. Felipe, great to have you in the house. Felipe is the director of development and culture. He's the director of HR and development and culture at PRB. He is also an HR business partner with Cricket Media. He is a LinkedIn top voice. That is a big, huge deal for those of you in LinkedIn land. You know this. And one of my favorites is with Sumana and Ashley. He does the Workplace Wellness Hour. And I got to tell you, I love that show when I can catch it. You guys, the three of you, the banter between the three of you and how you guys work this out. I don't know how many years you've been doing this, but it sounds like you've been doing it forever. So welcome in the house. I appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I always love watching what you do out there, not only here on LinkedIn, but what you're doing out in the world, because Jason, you are someone who's very inspiring. You make others, including myself, want to do more out there for other people, and you do it by leading by example. So thank you for that.
I appreciate you.
And Sumana and Ashley have been phenomenal. Sumana is the first one that I started doing a LinkedIn audio that turned into like a live podcast now, and it's been amazing because bringing Ashley in on year 2 was something like, Sumana and I had our groove, and we're like, oh, is the third person going to be great, or is it going to mess up the groove? And she made the groove better. I mean, she just leveled it up. And it's been fun. I mean, we actually, I gotta say, we don't script anything. We don't rehearse anything. It really is like, we talk about the topics. We talk about, and whoever's topic is more passionate kind of takes the lead, but it's been amazing. Now, if you want a little bit more brother-sister banter, check out Careers, Chaos, and Coaching with Melissa Houston, because that one there is, we provide great careers advice, coaching, insights, talk about what's happening in the world. But we don't always agree with the path. Like, our paths take you to the same destination, but she might want to take the suburban path, and I might want to take the city path, and we tend to disagree and argue like brother and sister. So if you want to see a little bit of us going back and forth like brother and sister, that adds a little bit of entertainment for people. Apparently, Kenny Dunner apparently is one of the ones that spawned the idea.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that. I love Melissa Houston, and I need to do a better job of catching up on some of these shows. Talk a little bit about your HR journey and kind of how you walked into that, because I know for me and a lot of other people, like, we fell into HR. So talk to us about that journey.
Yeah, so I went to school for business, and my friends were going to hospitality, and they're like, get a hospitality degree. I'm like, what if you don't like it? And so I decided I'm gonna get a job in hospitality and see if I like it. And I fell in love with hospitality. I thought I wanted to be a general manager one day. I was all in, and I had some family members that were in hospitality as well. But after 5 years in of being in the operation, I had an amazing HR director. And when I say amazing, he was just real. He wasn't like this overly diplomatic, professional guy, almost like a robotic. He was just like, if something was screwed up, he said, you know what, that was screwed up. That shouldn't have happened to you. The manager was wrong. Let me try to address it and figure out what we can do, versus, oh, we have to understand the manager's stressed. The manager's going through a lot. That's why they treated you poorly. No, that's not okay, But also because I took a big issue to him that he handled it so discreetly and professionally, and he didn't make it about him. And I was like, I want to do what you do. I thought I liked helping people, like the guests that come in the hotel, but you build a relationship with employees. You make a difference, and you get to know them at a much deeper level. And there's just something about that appealed to me. So I started, I got a job at another hotel, still within the Hyatt. Met my wife there, which was a bonus. Thank God for that. It's been 29 years this October. And so, and that's where I started my HR career. And I bounced around to like 7 hotels, became an HR director, and I learned so much from Hyatt. They taught me all the best things to do about culture, policy, compliance, like everything to do right legally and everything to do right by people. Because High is global. So when you talk about diversity, inclusion, and culture, they didn't practice it. It's just how it was. They were already that way because they were so diverse. People were learning about each other's cultures. It was celebrated, and you kind of learn from each other, and you kind of became better. And so during all that time, I spent 23 years with Hyatt, and I also had a degree. Besides the HR degree, I had a finance degree, and I never really used it too much. But I had a friend that was trying to recruit me over into banking, and my father was in banking at the World Bank for many years. And I was like, well, maybe. And I had kids going to college. I'm like, all right, let me try it. And so I left Hyatt after 23 years. They said, well, after 20 years, you're a retiree. I'm like, I'm not retiring. Like, we give you benefits, like for like hotel rooms. Like, oh, well, then consider me a retiree. I'll take it. Absolutely. Thank you. And so I went into banking for 10 years. It was wonderful. I introduced a lot of hospitality and people. Like one of the things one of my CEOs said to me is like, so what do you think your hospitality experience would bring to banking? And I said, well, when you walk into one of your branches or any branch, I don't think the experience is what it should be. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you go to a hotel, what do you experience? They're like, well, you get people getting your luggage. I go, yeah, making your food, making your bed. They carry your luggage for you. They clean your room after you. They treat you like a king and queen. Well, at a bank, we have all your money. We should be rolling out the red carpet for the fact that you trust us so much with your money. And we should be treating you like more important than you are treated. And so that was really an eye-opening thing. So we started introducing that. I love banking. It was great. But at the end of the day, we were making money off of people that just weren't managing their money well. And it just didn't feel great. Like I try to feel better about it because I did financial literacy. And I try to help out with a lot of nonprofits that way. But at the end of the day, it was just, I didn't think we were doing enough to help people with financial education literacy, help them manage their money versus making money off of them. So I did a contract job with Cricket Media, which was an amazing experience. Education, loved the passion of people in education. And then I took that time while I was on that contract to look for the right place, a place I wanted to land at, stay at, and believe in their mission and feel good about it. And PRB is where I landed, and it's where I'm at right now. And like all the nonprofits right now that are dependent on some government funding, obviously been impacted by what's been happening in the world. PRB's, still is just like everybody else. We've been impacted. But what's amazing is that I've never worked in a place that had already such a strong culture, but also, the leadership, the mission, every project they work on, you can get by because they're all around helping people locally, globally, whether it's about aging, whether it's about health, whether it's about fertility, whether it's about children, they're all important topics. So it's been an amazing experience. And it's been an experience where I really do think that I've been able to tap into some of the best HR skills I needed to help them. And they've helped me grow and learn a lot about the nonprofit world and the funding and the value and the importance to go into it. The one other thing I realized also, and I'll stop here, is I always worried about people burning out or stressing out at work, and especially the employees, because maybe they're getting too much pressure on them and too much workload. In the nonprofit world, it was very eye-opening, which logically it makes sense. I should have known this already, but the burnout is not, it's self-induced. It's because they care so much that they want to work harder to make these things better for people out there that need it. And when you have someone that cares that much, you gotta look out for them too, to make sure that they don't burn themselves out because of how much they care. So that's where I'm at right now. And I do have Cofiño Consulting that I do side training for HR services. I do speaking events. I do coaching, career coaching, executive coaching. And that's what I want to retire doing. I want to retire doing that because that's what I love.
Do you find with your coaching in a C now where there's like every other person is a coach, consultant, something in that realm, 2020, like the button switched and everybody went, yes, I'm going to do that. I will build it and they will come. What sets you apart? Is it really all of your experience that you've had? Because you got a load of it. And I've heard you speak and I've heard you talk about different issues that I'm passionate about. So I know you're coming from a people-centered place. So, I mean, is that really what makes a difference in the world for you?
For me, what what has given me the experience to be able to coach people effectively has been my 31 years in HR. Because I've had to deal with so many just variety of experience of situations that you learn how to coach not only situations, but different personalities, different communication styles, different leadership styles, different generations. And you realize that the coaches that exploded in 2020 just think, oh, I'm just a coach in general. Like, okay, you might be able to coach somebody through that one specific scenario that you went through, but a coach needs to be able to look at the big picture and step out and figure out what the person's trying to do and help them get there, not tell them what to do to get there. And I think that those 30 years, I mean, it started off coaching, employees and managers. Then it started going into leadership and CEOs. And then it was just like C-suite needed all the coaching. Like they were like the ones that needed most of the coaching. And my team would then go ahead and kind of coach the managers because I would teach them the skills. So it kind of be just ongoing and growing. And to see some of the people that used to work for me now, like are like the head of different areas, I could not be more proud and happier for them.
Sure.
They're shining so brightly, and they have different strengths. And that's the one thing that if you're people-centric, you tap into people and learn about them. Because when you learn about them, you realize, well, they know a lot about A, B, and C, and that's why we should talk to them. Oh, how'd you know they know all about that? Well, I care enough to listen to them when they actually talked. That's why.
Yes. Yes. It's those one-on-ones, those meetings, the touch points, the things that matter. I want to pivot for a minute because you mentioned it kind of briefly, but we have so much going on in the world right now. And I want to thank you on air for reaching out to me as a nonprofit founder. I feel it and I see some of the things, and then people react and will ask me questions. But I appreciated the fact that you reached out to me and sent me a DM and said, "Hey man, are you okay?" So thank you so much for that. I really appreciated that greatly.
Well, honestly, it's because I thought about people that might have been affected, and you were in the first people that I came to mind because of how much you do out there. And that's like, I would hate for something like that to stop because you weren't getting the support that you deserve.
How can we be more effective leaders to show up and to step out and to help those that are struggling?
It's part of it as leaders. I'll give you a few examples. One is, recently we had to go through a few layoffs, and it was unfortunate, but how it was handled, you think it's always almost expected that HR is going to try to handle it as respectfully with a lot of dignity. But when you hear the rest of leadership, especially the CEO, make sure that, hey, we want to make sure that we are respectful and handle this. And what are we doing for them after they leave? How is there a way to keep them connected? Is there a way to still invite them to things that they can network with us? And that mindset in leadership, especially if you're in senior leadership, is contagious.
Yep.
When she started thinking that way, I started thinking, like, you know what? I'm going to do a LinkedIn review for all the employees, and just send it to them about, hey, here, I did a LinkedIn workshop for all of them, which I think they found very helpful. But then I was like, you know what? I want to give them individual recommendations and suggestions. If they want to take it, great. I created a few banners for people who didn't have banners. And it was just, for me, it took me maybe 5 to 10 minutes to do something like that for somebody. Whereas someone who didn't have that experience did it for themselves, it might have taken them like all day. And so if you have a certain skill that you know that people out there need help with, offer it. A CEO offering, hey, I will write a reference for you all. I'm happy to write a reference for all of you. I've been through enough layoffs where that is not always the case. A lot of them are like, all right, once they're cut off, we got to focus on the future of our business now. Sorry, but that's the past. This is the future, which that's a very logical business response, but it's not the most logical human response. And the last thing I'll say is emotional intelligence. At the end of the day, we got to have the emotional intelligence to recognize how people might be doing, because we're so focused on ourselves. And don't get me wrong, we've got to take care of ourselves too. But if you want to be out there for people, you got to check in on them. You got to reach out to them and see how they're really doing. Today was the last day. I spent the last 2 weeks because our senior leadership. So actually, this is the best example. Our senior leadership talked about 2 weeks ago. We're really concerned about the staff still here, about the uncertainty. We want to make sure that they're okay, because we're sure they have a lot of questions. So we came up with an idea to reach out to them. And I said, okay, I'll reach out to them. I did it when I first got here. I'll just do a 15-minute one-on-one on their calendars. Send them an email ahead of time saying, hey, no ulterior motive. Just SLT wants to check in on you to see how you're doing. You'll get a calendar invite for 15 minutes. Do not worry about anything else. It's no bad news. Those conversations, people felt free to talk about what they're stressing about. Some were saying, I'm okay, but I'm more worried about other people. Or some are like, I'm going to deal with survivor guilt. All this stuff, I hate to say it like a data nerd, but it's data. When I start looking at all this, now that I'm done, I'm going to look at all of it. I'm going to look at it and see, are there common trends that we need to we need to do some mental health, burnout training here, because everyone's kind of feeling that. Or, God, everyone's talking about not feeling connected because of so much to change. How do we get people connected again? All right, that are remote. So we were doing game nights, we were doing all these other things. But so again, it goes back to listening. So I'm not going to assume what they want, because if I assume what they want, they might not care about what I want. But when I hear them and listen to them, and I can start seeing common trends, I can start working towards it. So leadership just needs to take the time to listen, take the action of what you need to do, because it's like having an employee survey, getting the results and doing nothing with it. Nothing pisses people off more than, why'd you make me take all the time to take a survey if you're not going to do anything with it, man? Come on.
Or even better, you take the survey and pick out the thing, whether it was at the highest level or at the top of there was one thing and you're okay with doing that one thing. So you do it. And it was like the least
important. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I will say the other thing that actually I asked everyone at the end of these one-on-ones, and I let them go along if they wanted to. I said, are these valuable? Do you think we should keep on doing these maybe twice a year or whatever? And everyone was all for it. A few people said, just don't do pulse surveys. What do you mean? We feel like we can share more in these conversations than a pulse survey ever would give you. So don't do the pulse surveys, do this instead. I'm like, all right, fair enough. And does it take time? Yeah, but you know what? Anything valuable probably takes some time.
When we are talking in HR, I love the fact that you mentioned that it's multi-layered. There's so many things that are part of it. What do you think is the hardest thing in your experience? What has been one of the more difficult things from an HR leader to be part of or to do?
This is something that over the year, I think this. So an HR leader, what I've realized and learned over the years is that, and it happens to all of us, it's like the first time you get that management role, it's going to go to your head a little bit. How much it goes to your head is your decision. We've all seen the ones that they've gotten power hungry, well, I'm the manager, so I said so. Okay, calm down. Okay, earn the respect before you start, puffing out your chest. But HR leaders, sometimes they're so worried about how they look to their boss or CEO that they want to do everything right by them, that they forget that part of the job is to look out for the employees. And so what I caution them is one of the most challenging things that I've had is to challenge my CEOs to say, I don't think what you're suggesting is the right thing because I don't think it'll be received well, or I think we should do this even though you don't agree, and here are the reasons why. Now, I could debate something until I am blue in the face, and some people are not going to change their mind. Other people, I can get them to change their mind like that. My one CEO, doesn't matter what I told him. I could tell him, hey, they're willing to deposit $10 million into the bank if you do this. He'd be like, yeah, I don't believe in that, no. So an example was emotional intelligence. And I said to him about it. He's like, no, just don't worry about it. And I'll try to get him to realize, I think you need to learn about it for yourself, but also for other people. So I realized, okay, why am I beating my head against the same wall? Think differently. And I think that's where HR leaders need to do is realize, think differently, learn people's communication styles, leadership styles, and learn how to approach them differently. it's like playing any game. If you've been a gamer and you can't get past a certain level, well, you gotta try something different then, because what you're doing is not working, right? So I went and did research on a bunch of popular, well-known leaders out there that I knew and respected, that also respected emotional intelligence. And I printed out 3 different articles about 3 different leaders, and I just put it in his inbox. He never said anything to me, didn't respond to me about it. I was in a training class 2 weeks later, and he came in and he's talking to me and one of my trainers. And all of a sudden he starts quoting, he's like, are you going to be doing this and teaching about like emotional intelligence on this and that? And what about, their EQ? Are you doing EQ ratings for them and give them that book? And I'm just like, he read the damn articles. Like,
nice.
I don't need the credit, but it took me a long time to get to that point. So I think that one of the hardest things is to realize, one, don't make it about yourself. You're there for the employees and to support the organization. Right. But 2, if you're trying to influence leadership, think differently, because they are not all going to think the same. And that's a challenge, especially when they're on the room together or separately.
This has been such a great conversation. And before we chime out, I want you to remind the audience of the shows that you have, dates and times. So if you can give those out to people, so we'll make sure that we include that and put it in the comments as well on Funky Friday. But tell people about the shows that you have coming up and when you normally do your recordings.
Sure. So they're all live, and then you have them on replay on YouTube and LinkedIn. And the first one is every other Monday is the Workplace Wellness Hour with Sumana Jetty and Ashley Fluellen, and that's at 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, every other Monday. So our next one will be a week from today, and we're doing actually a 2-part series on mental health in the workplace, since it is Mental Health Awareness Month. On Sundays, every other Sundays, I also have Careers, Chaos, and Coaching with Melissa Houston, and that's at 11 a.m. Eastern. And that's on the opposite weeks as Workplace Wellness. And then every Saturday, I am part of the Social Saturday chat crew with Mac Laupsher and team. And so we're there every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern, where we spotlight special guests, we do networking events, and we tackle really amazing topics.
I got to meet Mac and
Joel.
Yes, I got to meet Joel live when they came to the United States.
I'm so jealous.
Oh my gosh, it was so great. I got some cool pictures. And Mac, I was just blown away by just how he shows up. And you want to talk about a guy with a huge amount of EQ. I was just like, dude. So
I've never had somebody that I considered a brother from another mother, but Mac Laupsher is that brother from another mother. We have so many similar interests, down to movies, cars, fish tanks. I mean, like every time we name something, even things like, all right, I'm kind of embarrassed. I love that too. He's that person that when they come back, I'm hoping to meet him when they come back next time, because
nice.
He's one of my longest term friends. If I had to say that one of the people that attributed to me learning so much about LinkedIn to where I got top voice, Mac is definitely one of those people that I give credit to.
He's fantastic. Oh my goodness. We have been talking to Felipe Cofiño. I cannot believe you were in the house today. Thank you so much, Dom. You missed out, brother. You missed out, but we'll catch you next time. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for all that you do. I love how you show up. I cannot wait to get to some more of the shows. And thank you so much for being part of our show today.
Well, I appreciate you, and thank you. We didn't talk about it because we wouldn't say we're going to, but my daughter just got engaged, and
yes,
so I've been on cloud 9 since then. So I was so excited to come on the show today with you because I love what you do. But yeah, shout out to Miranda Cofiño and Dan Ray, who are just got engaged.
That's so awesome. Yes, I missed that. I missed it, but you got it.
No. We weren't sure if we were going to mention
it's all good. No, I'm so thrilled for you and your family. It's fantastic. I got to see a little bit of the post before I came in and didn't get a chance to comment yet, but man, congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate the invite. And I look forward to just continue following all the great work you're doing. And if there's anything I can ever do to help support you, just all you do is ask, man.
Man, I appreciate that. You have been on Time to Change. I'm Chasen Forehand. We'll catch you next time.